Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. My name's Brian Harrison. Okay, guys, we got a couple things we're going to talk about. We have a guest, Charles, here. He's going to be speaking about a couple things today. So as we're talking, I do want to mention something. We're going to talk about, guess what? I said I didn't want to talk about it, but I got to bring one thing about Corona because Obama's involved in this. You're going to hear a clip that I'm going to play from. Of course, this time it is Fox News. I know I'm going to hear about it from the left. Oh my gosh, Fox News. Hey, it's better than that Cartoon News Network. So anyway, listen to this. Just, I think it's about a 3-minute clip at the most.
Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Katie Pavlich in for Judge Jeanine Pirro. Tonight, hypocrisy lives on Martha's Vineyard, where at this very moment, former President Barack Obama is holding a massive bash to celebrate his 60th birthday. Earlier this week, the Obamas pledged to scale back the extravaganza to include only friends and family. That move was allegedly in response to concerns over the Delta coronavirus variant. So what does scaled back really look like in the eyes of the 44th President of the United States? Well, massive tents have taken over his sprawling $12 million Martha's Vineyard estate, and forget about social distancing, hundreds of maskless attendees have descended onto the island. Among those so-called close friends and family reportedly include Jay-Z, Beyonce, Stephen Colbert, and many other left-wing celebrities. So while you are being asked to, and told, actually, to mask up despite your vaccination status, and while you have been told to cancel birthday celebrations for at least 2 years, the Obamas and their liberal pals are playing by different rules. Meanwhile, all of this comes on the very same week that Mayor Bill de Blasio announced that New York City will soon require vaccine passports in order to enter bars, restaurants, gyms, and other privately owned establishments. Take a look.
So today I announce a new approach, which we're calling the Key to NYC Pass. This is a miraculous place, literally full of wonders. And if you're vaccinated, all that's going to open up to you. You'll have the key. You can open the door. But if you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in many things.
All right, guys. So I just want to bring something up here. First of all, Charles and I are going to talk about something in a minute. Kind of goes down that road a little bit. But however, let's talk about these vaccine passports. So think about this, guys. In Durham, North Carolina right now, they are asking everybody to wear masks who are vaccinated or not vaccinated. What do you think is going to happen soon when it comes to New York and everybody else? Like I said, in every show, these are just steps. And then you start getting comfortable and you're like, it's not a big deal if they go to another step. Well, guess what? Next, it's hurdles. That's what's going on here. So anyway, Charles, we're going to go ahead and talk with you. You had some stuff you wanted to talk about today. What's your thought here?
Well, that Obama party sounds pretty fun. I wish I was there, but I don't think that party is for me. It's for the ruling class.
That's true, and we may all catch COVID. Oh, just like the liberals that flew up from Texas and all had COVID. Hey, what's going on with that? I haven't heard much about that anymore, have we? It's amazing.
We were going to have a demonstration in Raleigh yesterday, I understand, in defense of the Constitution. What happened with that, Brian?
So anyway, what happened with is we got rained out. Only a few people showed. There were about 60 people there. My friend did go there. He stayed there for a little bit. He said a few people spoke, but with the rain and everything, pretty much everybody left. There was Antifa there. They were starting up some problems as always. So my friend Jerry, and you guys have seen him on the show. First of all, he saw one of the Antifa members who was actually holding the flag from Russia from the past when they were a communist country, which I still say they're a communist country in many ways.
You mean the hammer and sickle flag?
The hammer and sickle flag. And that particular guy with Antifa said, no, this is the actual flag of Russia to this day. And Jerry's explaining what the flag looks like. No, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just a Trump supporter. Everybody's a Trump supporter. This has nothing to do with Trump. That's how stupid they are. They have nothing to talk about except blaming it on Trump. Guys, come up with a new idea.
Well, that's the problem these days. You know, if you accuse someone of being a socialist or a liberal or whatever you want to call it, and tell them that's the wrong philosophy. Don't believe in that. Don't believe in socialism. It doesn't work. You're not going to get anywhere. They're going to plant their feet, and they're going to accuse you of the same thing, being a Trump supporter. But the the socialists have one major Achilles heel. All of these people, especially the young people, they love decentralization. They like the blockchain. They like cryptocurrency. They like Ethereum. They like Uber. They like Airbnb. All of these are decentralization type businesses, decentralization type, a new decentralized type economy. They love that idea. But what they don't realize is that socialism is the ultimate form of centralization. It's putting all of the power in the hands of a ruling class, just like this ruling class that's at the Obama party.
Correct, and that's true. And that's why they can get away with it, but yet we can't. Guys, again, these are steps, and what they're going to eventually do is it's going to be like China. I mean, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be told what job you can take, if you can go out or not at night. It's ridiculous. And if you say the wrong thing against your government, you'll disappear all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. You will disappear, and you'll be going, I voted for these guys. Let me explain something to you. Guys, we've had Jose on this show a few times. Jose's talked many times about this. He's talked about what's going on in Venezuela, the Dominican Republic. He's from there, but he has family there in Venezuela. He's talked about this, and he basically expressed how this happened there. And it's the same exact scenario, what's happening here. Guys, if we don't get a hand on this now and handle this right, you're going to be in that same situation where we're a communist country. Socialism is the next step to communism. It is running right there, and I actually consider them both the same almost. You may have a different opinion on it, but I do, and they're very, very close.
I think they're essentially the same thing. I mean, these days, everything is being redefined. Hey, the word democracy is being redefined to mean democratic socialism, which is socialism, which is communism. Socialism, I always looked at as kind of a process, the process of changing a society so it goes more and more towards communism, which is a totalitarian state. And that's really what you have to worry about. It's moving the society towards a totalitarian system. You don't want that. You want individualism. You want freedom. You don't want totalitarianism. Every time socialism has been tried, it's been a disaster. I mean, a major disaster. It not only destroys economies, it destroys people. China, what? Mao Zedong, he gets the award for being the biggest mass murderer in history. 100 million people. I have a book by a guy named R.J. Rommel called Death by Government. And he points out that China killed 100 million people on their path towards communism. Why? Because they want to engineer the perfect society. That's not how it works.
Not at all.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Matter of fact, Charles and I were talking about something just a little bit ago. Matter of fact, remember, I've said this in the past. Look, when the Korean War was going on, MacArthur wanted to continue and go into China.
That's
because
true.
He knew that this was going to happen. He knew. And my father, who got hurt, he really wanted to go back. He was like, hey, fix me up. I'm heading back. I'm ready to go. And he was ready to go. He was ready to fight because he knew what was going. He knew exactly what was going on. He's talked about it for many, many years. And as I was a child, he said, watch China. And I'm like, Dad, I don't see this being a problem. He was right. He proved me wrong.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, MacArthur walked right through Korea. I mean, he just finished fighting World War II. He was an extremely competent general. And so the mission was, we have a problem with Korea, take it over. That's what he did, but he was stopped by Truman. And that was the first political war in United States history. And then ever since then, that was what, 1950 to 1954?
Yeah.
Ever since then, every single war we've had has been a political war, where the object isn't to stop the other side or control the wipe out the other side. The object is to make a political statement using armies.
Or they now call it policing.
Yeah, right.
That's their new word, policing. Hey, a war is a war. If you're going to fight it like a war.
Yeah,
Get it?
That's imperialism. And hey, the liberals, the socialists are right in that you don't want your nation to be an imperialist nation, projecting their power into other parts of the world. You don't want that kind of thing. But hey, the system that they're voting for, the socialist system, that's all they do.
Yeah, and you know, I remember Reagan once. I remember waking up one morning and I go, we bombed Libya. I'm like, what? I didn't even know anything about it. And it was done, over with, and done. And it was fixed.
Yeah.
The problem was fixed.
Right.
So that was how fast it was. And that's how things should be handled. I'm
Yes,
going to go.
like the Trump presidency.
Correct.
You know, ISIS was acting up. They're cutting people's heads off by the thousands all over the Middle East and in other countries too. Trump took power. They respect the strong man.
Yeah.
Within a few months, it all ended. You never heard another thing about them.
Nope. And matter of fact, let's go back to the Iraq War when they were talking about, I'll say it because when Bush was running this whole thing, I'm not a fan of Bush. I'll say it. I was not a fan of him, but I'll tell you this.
Which Bush are you talking about? One
I'm
or two?
talking about two.
Two.
Yeah. But, you know, when it comes down to it, we're looking at them. The generals were sitting there. Now, we're going to take our bombs. They're going to go through bunkers. They were on TV every night talking about their weapons and bombs and what they're going to do. Guys, we don't want to hear about it. You were basically telling them where we're going to bomb. Dumb move. Just do your job, get it over with, and that's it. That's simple. Some of these, it was just all political. That's all it was. And we all saw it. We saw it many nights on TV. I don't want to hear about that. I just wanted to see it done and over with.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
It was just political reporting. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. So, what else?
Well, let's see. I publish a podcast called Free World Theory. Free World Theory is the science of building and sustaining decentralized communities. So I'm a big fan of decentralization. I'm a big fan of the blockchain and of cryptocurrencies. And one of the problems with that whole landscape is blockchain developers, cryptocurrency developers. They don't really understand what a decentralized world is. Mm-hmm. They want decentralization because they think the idea of centralized power means tyranny, and they're right. They want decentralization, but they don't really understand what it means. Anyway, that's what the whole Free World Theory podcast is about. It explains what a decentralized world looks like, how to attain it, and yeah.
So, yeah, guys, check this out on his podcast channel. He's on Apple. He's on Spotify. Definitely check it out. Definitely share, definitely share his stuff out there. I've listened to some of it. It's really good. I have a few more episodes I need to listen to, but it's very interesting. I find it very interesting.
Just like you, I have a few more of your episodes to listen to. You put out episodes so fast I can't keep up.
You should be listening to them every day.
I don't. I try.
Oh, yeah, sure. He's in there doing his own podcast. Trust me, I can tell you that. Yes, we got somebody in the background here. So
they're time consuming. They're a lot of work. Brian puts a lot of work into this.
Yeah, no, he does. He edits his videos quite a bit, or edits his podcast, I should say. Guys, you know I don't edit much. I can. I've done a few things, but not much because I like to go right from the hip and shoot live. Because remember, I'm trying to run for Senate here. I don't want anything in front of me. I just want to go after everybody straight on. Don't want to have to look at things. Okay, well, hold on. I need to read this. Hold on. Okay, no, it doesn't work for me.
Well, that's an interesting topic since you bring it up. You're running for Senate. Do you really think it's possible to change the system from within the system? Or do you think the American political system is just too far gone at this point?
I think it's very close to being too far gone. I only can hope that if I get in there, I have a shot to try to do something. We've talked about this many times on the show. I like Jim Jordan. I like Ted Cruz. I like these guys, what they're trying to do. They're actually fighting back. We've got some weak conservatives up there. I call them weak Republicans.
They're very annoying. Mitch McConnell, rhino is the term, right?
Yeah. And then we got a couple of them. Cheney, we got a lot of them up there, and you know what? It's sad. It's sad that they're doing this to their own party and to the people of this country.
Well, that's the thing. Really the more time goes by, the more I realize that each party is worse than the other.
Exactly. Well, all they want to do is just sit there.
The people you mentioned, Jim Jordan and Rand Paul and so forth, Ted Cruz, I like them very much, and I think they are sincere.
They are,
and they would like to fix the country, but
they get voted out every time because you got those weak Republicans in there. And that's the problem. They fight. Yes. They do what they can. They're out there telling everybody that's all they can do. But when you have a weak Republican in there, a conservative that just wants to say, well, I don't want to stir up the waters and muddy up the waters because, oh my gosh, I'm getting a paycheck right now. Yeah. Do your job. Be an American. That's what you're hired for. You're a public servant. You're nothing more. And you should have term limits. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to continue this term limits. But go on.
Well, hey, I'm tempted to run for political office because I'd like to get the health benefits. They have a great package, I hear.
Oh, yeah, for life.
Yeah, for life.
Yeah.
And you get a pension for life. It really is the ruling class, these guys. We don't have those advantages.
No.
You might if you win Senate, you know.
Hey, I'll take advantage of it. Do I get the free Obamacare? That's what I want. Yeah, Obamacare. Yeah, let's see how that wins.
Yeah.
That's a joke in itself.
That was a disaster.
Yeah, it is.
I have so many friends. They were paying $600-700 a month for health coverage. Obamacare happened. It jumped up to $1,800. The guy that cut my hair back in California, he's a hair cutter. This guy had to pay $1,800 a month for health care.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And you know what? Obamacare is the problem here. That's messed up a lot of things. It really has. So what are your thoughts on insurance? I mean, do you, with insurance companies, do you have any idea there what you're thinking about that? Or?
Well, insurance, it's a
tough one.
That's like asking me about the economics. Insurance just bores me to death.
Yeah.
My wife is here sitting on the sideline. She'll tell you I don't like to deal with insurance.
No. Well, and no one does. And the reason why, I've got a friend from Canada, and he hates the insurance up there. He doesn't want that type of insurance. Everybody wants to have...
You're talking about medical plans, right?
Yeah, I'm talking medical plans, yeah. So, and that's the insurance. He just doesn't like it. That's why I was mentioning Obamacare, because that's all medical anyway. Yeah. But that being said...
Well, that's one entire industry and sector that has just been destroyed by centralization. They call it single payer. That's a euphemism for the government controls everything. And when the government controls everything, it's just run so inefficiently.
Correct.
It's a monopoly, so there's no checks and balances in an economy, in a sector like that. It's just a disaster. And you don't want that happening to the rest of the U.S. economy.
Yeah. Guys, keep this in mind. Big government, big problems. Just keep that in mind. That's where you want to put that in your head. Just clarify that. Keep that in your head there, guys, when you're thinking about things.
Turn that into a bumper sticker.
Yeah. Big government, big problem. Hey, if you guys put that on a bumper sticker, I do want some money out of that. I need to patent that quick.
Well, that's where decentralization comes in. And these new technologies like cryptocurrencies and smart contracts on the blockchain, there's actually an opportunity to develop a parallel economy and a parallel money system. Money system, that's an interesting topic. Look what's happened with all the completely irresponsible printing of money. Another $3.5 trillion, another $2 trillion, another $4 trillion, another $2 trillion. They've turned trillions into the new billions. And this is just a disaster. I mean, read about the Weimar Republic in 1923 and the hyperinflation that happened there. Yeah. And this is what we're going into. I'm old enough that I remember I lived through the inflationary period in the United States during the 1970s. Interest rates were at 25%. Products become cheaper because all the companies, in order to keep their price down, they start manufacturing things out of cheaper and cheaper materials just to keep the price down.
Right.
I'm from California. There were gigantic housing tracts that were built in the early 1980s and the late 70s made out of just cheap building material. And they looked okay at the time when they were put up, and now they look like hell. They've just created slums.
Wait a minute, guys. We got somebody from California here. I'm a little worried about that.
Well, that's why I'm not in California any longer. It's unlivable there.
That's what I needed to know.
Hey, all those stories you hear about in California about the homeless people on the street and the needles everywhere and defecating on the sidewalks in front of sidewalk cafes, all of that, it's all true. As a matter of fact, it's underreported.
Yeah, no. I was actually driving through California and picked him up on the way back from there. No, you know, I'm always going to tease with you guys. But anyway, yeah, no, it's definitely bad in California. What's going on? Hey, guys, we're hearing about it all the time. I just showed these guys. It was interesting. I was showing them a map because I was at the gun range yesterday. And I was showing the states that are all where you cannot carry guns, concealed carry, have guns of any sort. That's where all the crimes are going on. You should check that map out, see where you can carry guns, where you can't carry guns. It's interesting. So I'm just saying, legal people that are legally allowed to carry guns. Let's rephrase that, guys, because I've said this in my shows before. Look, I'll say it again. They've got ghost guns out there. They've got guns, no matter what. The bad guys are going to have guns.
Well, there's two things you're implying there, I think.
Yeah,
one is that if you're in an environment where someone might have a gun, you're going to behave yourself.
Correct.
So, that's one thing. But also those states that have high crime and guns aren't allowed, the fact that guns aren't allowed, that's just indicative of the type of centralized, top-down centralized control that those governments have over those populations. And, guns are one thing, but that implies that they're going to have all sorts of regulations and rules and taxes and restrictions in a state like that. And when that happens, things start to break down.
That's true.
Because you don't allow the economy to operate.
Right. And I'm not saying we need the Wild West out there by any means. Nobody needs that. We just need to be able to protect ourselves and our homes and everything else.
Hey, the Wild West sounds okay to me compared to what's happening in some of these states. I'm very worried for the United States.
I am too.
This is a major, the greatest civilization that's ever existed in the history of the world is collapsing.
That's correct. I've said it before. Rome
for
fell.
one reason. One reason. Top-down centralized control. This ruling class, they're control freaks. They want to control everything.
That's true.
And they do.
Yeah. Look at Obama's party. It's crazy. That's a small party, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the rules apply to us, not to them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got Nancy Pelosi and all them doing the same thing. I talked about masks last night. Look, if this virus were a real problem, and I brought up the virus again, but if it were a real problem, why aren't they wearing goggles, N95s, they're fitted to their face, they can only wear 2.5 hours? They're using it for political reasons.
I don't want to just insult people, but I mean, look at the cabal of people that are leading the Democrat Party, Pelosi and Nadler and Schumer. Schumer, I don't blame so much. He's just doing his job. He's going to be a contrarian. Anything the Republicans want, he isn't going to want. So I don't fault him so much. But these other people, well, I know what you mean. But these other people, they're insane. These are insane people. These are like the people that Hitler had around him when he was Chancellor of Germany.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I don't even think Biden's running the country. I'm not sure. He doesn't even know what's going on. I'm not even sure if when he wakes up in the morning, if he knows what cereal he has,
Yeah. They're just propping him up there like they used to prop up George Burns when he was 100 years old. Do your act, George. I like George Burns.
I was going to say I like George Burns.
To me.
Don't offend George Burns. I liked him. He was great.
I do too. But that's what they're doing to Biden. You're right. He doesn't even know where he is.
Oh, I know. So it's absolutely crazy. What else? You got anything else you want to come up with today?
Oh, let me see. Okay. If you think about it, there's really only two possible ways that people can be organized. One is through a hierarchy, the pyramidal structure, like the corporate, lattice.
Sure.
The other is through a network. Now, a hierarchy, that's what the government is. Big, gigantic hierarchy. But everybody who's ever worked in a big hierarchy, they know that hierarchies have problems. They have information flow problems. The guy at the top doesn't understand what the guy at the bottom is doing, especially in a big corporation or government. The guy at the bottom doesn't understand what's going on in the top. The whole point of a hierarchy is to have control over the system, right? There's one guy sitting at the top of the hierarchy who's trying to drive this thing like a government, like it's a monster truck. But he gives commands, And the next rung down, they're supposed to follow his orders, and the next rung down are supposed to follow their orders and so forth. But everybody knows that these commands, they get corrupted on the way down. So information flow is very inefficient in a giant hierarchical system. The other way that people can be organized is through a network. A network is where people come together and mutually agree on a way to exchange something. In a hierarchy, it's all about command control. Commands are given, and you're supposed to, do what I say. In a network, it's negotiated control. People come together and they mutually decide on a way to exchange some kind of property. The truth is, networks have far more control built into them than hierarchies do. It's just distributed.
Correct. And that's where we go to the people of this country, not the government. That's exactly where I think you're going with this, because we're the network, guys, and that's exactly what we are. We're in control of everything. We really are. We just got to take back that control, especially when we go in 2022 vote, if we make it that far. This country's falling apart quick, especially with inflation and all that. But go on. I'm sorry.
Well, in my opinion, there's a reason for all the social turmoil that we're going through now. It's because society, civilization, because of the increased technology, because of the advent of digital technology specifically, is changing from hierarchically dominant societies to network dominant societies. There's two major forces going on in the world right now. One is the development of tech. Tech, especially the blockchain and so forth, they're trying to decentralize all social systems. That's the whole point. I mean, Uber and Airbnb and the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, these are all towards decentralizing things. So this is a big social movement towards more and more decentralization. On the other hand, you have governments which are trying to centralize everything. So these are two primal forces fighting in the world today. And what are they fighting over? This is a conflict over how all of civilization should be organized. Should it be hierarchically, pyramid dominant, top-down organization, or should it be negotiated network? Now, you will always have both hierarchies and networks. Those are the only two ways that people can be organized. If you think about it, there's no other possibility. I just lost my train of thought.
No, I do that once in a while, too. That's what happens when we're on the fly here sometimes.
It's lack of intelligence on my part.
The left I'm sure they just went, yeah. And the left goes, what were we talking about?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
See? I fixed it.
Yeah. Thank you for fixing it.
It was the California, and I had to shake them up a little bit. Go ahead.
The way civilization has always been since the beginning, it's been there's only two ways to organize people, either through a network or through a hierarchy, and hierarchies have always been dominant since the beginning of recorded civilization, all the way up until modern times, the development of the nation state. These are giant hierarchies, but what's happening, and there's a guy named Alvin Toffler who wrote a great book called The Third Wave, who talked about this. What's happening is we're entering into a world that is network dominant. You will always have both networks and hierarchies. But what's happening is networks are becoming dominant, and hierarchies, which are still going to be there, are going to be less dominant. And that's switching the importance of those two ways of organization. And in my opinion, what's going on today, the reason there's so much social turmoil, is that this is the last gasp of the control freaks, of hierarchies trying to stay alive and control the game. But because of the development of digital technology, that's just not going to happen anymore.
Right.
That's ending.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's it looks like it's a violent end.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens here. It's getting crazier and crazier out there. We're seeing more violence on the street. Things that I never saw. I mean, when I was growing up as a kid, yeah, we heard about a shooting once in a great while, things like that. Not like this. And in your time, I mean, you're not much older than me, just a teeny bit, but still. Yeah, but anyway.
I'm no spring chicken.
I am. We're not going to say my age out here, guys, because I'm only 30.
I don't know what happened. I'm used to always being the youngest guy in the room, and something switched. Just like networks versus hierarchy, something switched.
I just say I look like a Shar-Pei. That's all. And everybody likes a Shar-Pei. We look cute. I just have to get rid of the wrinkles.
Well, enough of that.
Anyway, yeah, I tell my wife that all the time. I'm always telling her I look like a Shar-Pei, so there.
Thank you for having me on your show, by the way, Brian.
Yeah,
I
no
really appreciate
problem.
it. This is, I'm not used to doing this. I do my own podcast, and I do videos and stuff, but I always work from scripts. Brian is an excellent extemporaneous speaker, and I'm trying to learn this.
I'm working on it. I'm getting better. We saw my first videos when I started. You guys have seen this. And it was a lot of, But you learn as you go through, and you just talk and get more with the flow. And I still mess up occasionally. I've still had to redo a few of my videos in the past. And I said, I got to start this over. I had to do it 2 nights ago. I did it like 5 times. And I just make fun. I have blooper videos out there. I should put them out there. They're funny. I'm just like and acting crazy. So it's a lot of fun. But anyway, anything else?
Well, I can't think of anything right now, and it's probably best to keep it short and not bore people. Huh?
Okay. I did have one question for you. Remember I say on my show, Rome fell. I've said it.
Yeah.
You and I had a conversation about that a while back ago, why Rome fell. You remember that?
Well, yeah.
I won't put you on the spot, but I know it was something we talked about, and
I
get a
actually
pretty good
talk
idea.
about this in my podcast.
Yeah.
Free World Theory. Go on Spotify or Apple or any of the big podcast platforms. Just search for Free World Theory, and this is in there. I think it's one of the early episodes. Yeah, Rome expanded because it could take over all of its wealthy neighbors. And this is what they did up until about the time of Augustus, which was close to 1 A.D.
Right.
And the beginning of the empire. But by the time of Tiberius, all of the easy territories had been taken. So they started turning to other tactics to try and become wealthier. Again, ruling class. So they turned to inflation. They started destroying their economy.
Right.
Inflation back then meant clipping coins, which is actually take a piece of silver and you chip a part of it off, so you steal a little bit, or manufacturing coins out of cheap metal.
Yeah.
But that's the real reason that Rome fell. They did this for so long. Diocletian and Constantine, they tried to fix the empire by turning to religion.
Yeah.
Didn't work. What they should have done was fix the money system. The money system is what kept Rome together. The first coins were started in Lydia around 600 BCE. They were the first coins in the world. Before that, people traded using ingots, which were just lumpy pieces of metal. And every time you made a trade, you had to weigh the ingots to see, how much metal you had, and then make the trade. In Lydia, around 600 BCE, the king there, his name was King Croesus, came up with the idea of standardized coinage, where every coin would be the same size and the same weight. And that made trading really efficient. And within 100 years, it was such a great idea. Within 100 years, that idea spread all over ancient Greece. Well, Rome added another technology to that, which was before Rome, people could pay taxes by bartering. Part of their crops, whatever they made, furniture, whatever. Rome decided to collect taxes using standardized coinage. And when they took over a territory, the first thing that they did was impose Roman standard coinage on the new territory, the territory that they just took over. That territory could keep their gods, their local deities. Rome didn't care about that. But what they couldn't do was keep their own money system. Rome imposed their money system, and that made Rome, the ability to collect standardized taxes all over the world. It made them the most powerful, nation.
Nation in the world.
Nation, empire in the world.
Yeah, I get it.
And when they destroyed their money system through inflation, that's what destroyed Rome.
Yeah. Do we have some similarities here?
That's more than you wanted to know.
Yeah, no. It was a good breakdown. Guys, it was a good breakdown, but do we see some similarities here? I've said this before.
Oh, the inflationary period that we're
Yes.
entering into is just going to be insane.
Absolutely.
This is going to be the worst inflation, in my opinion. It's going to be the worst inflation since the Weimar Republic in 1923, if you know anything about that. However, there's a new wrinkle because there are cryptocurrencies now. So people actually have alternate money systems that they can jump to. And the IRS, they're going crazy right now trying to control cryptocurrencies. They would love to turn them off if they could, but they can't.
Right.
Because of how the technology works, they can't kill them. They're trying to tax them. They're trying to regulate them, but they can't. They can only regulate cryptocurrencies through the exchanges. And the big popular exchanges are Robinhood and Coinbase. And there's another one. I can't remember the name of it, the one in Europe. Can't remember the name of it.
It's okay.
And these exchanges have become big because they've already agreed. Coinbase, for example, has already agreed, hey, if you trade cryptocurrencies, we're sending all that data to the IRS so they can track you. You make money, you owe taxes to the IRS. That's not going to hold up, however. People can get private wallets, and they can trade, on the side. So this is going to be a new inflation destroys economies. But there is this new wrinkle of cryptocurrencies. Nobody knows how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I was going to say that'll be interesting to see what goes on there. Definitely. Anything else to say? You good?
Check out Free World Theory, the podcast. Just go on Spotify or Apple and look for Free World Theory.
And on that note, guys, I'm going to say this. As always, go check out my podcast. Check out my YouTube video. Definitely go to my website, www.just.commonsense.com. Again, www.just-commonsense.com. Scroll to the bottom, go to my YouTube, go to my podcast. Please share, and please definitely give me comments on my email. I've asked for that many times. I'm getting quite a few emails coming back. I am answering a few things out there, so please get that over to me. Guys, what I'm always going to say, what I always say at the end of every show, thank you for our law enforcement. Thank you for our police officers. Again, what you guys are doing is fantastic. Thank you for our military, our first responders, our farmers. You guys are going through a lot right now. We know there's flooding and droughts across the country. We're hearing about it. Fires, that's another thing that's going on. So definitely want to thank you for everything going on right now with that, especially with the price of beef and everything going up right now. It's going to be crazy out there. And as always, definitely want to thank everybody out there who's working and collecting a paycheck the right way instead of sitting on the couch and getting free money from the government. It's not free. We're paying for it. I've said it many times. You guys are going to end up finding out later when you have to go back to work and you can't find a job. So otherwise, just wanted to say that. And again, one more thing. I think I forgot. Our truck drivers, thanks for you guys for everything you do. All right, take care. Have a great night, and God bless you, and God bless America. Thanks, and take care.